In today's world, going to the supermarket is not even given a second thought. Even that can be a hassle with things like online shopping. But imagine waking up at 4 AM and having to get your loaf of bread by boat. That's the reality of daily life on the floating markets of the Mekong Delta. Good morning from Ho Chi Minh City. Very early start today, 2:35 AM, where we're leaving Saigon to go to Can Tho, where Cai Rang floating market is. And there's a reason why we've had to get up so early. It's because the markets are the busiest in the early hours of the morning. So right now we're cruising down the Mekong Delta in the dark on the way to Cai Rang. But before I start, I think it's important to know what the Mekong Delta actually is. When the Mekong River reaches the South China Sea, the water slows down and deposits sediments that's carried from the source, which flows through 6 different countries, which then creates the delta. The Mekong Delta is one of the most diverse ecosystems in the world. It even holds the most freshwater fish of any other river on Earth. Because of its abundance of resources, human life thrives on the delta. This is called a monkey bridge, which has resulted in entire cities that lie on its plain. And life on the river still resumes as it did 4,500 years ago.
Thank you very much.
With markets that entirely depend on the water. And that's where I was heading at 5 AM on an old fishing boat.
The floating market in Cần Thơ, one is the Cai Rang floating market, and one is the Phong Dien floating market. The weather is hot all year. And why the local people here get up so early like that? Because temperature is cooler.
As the sun started to rise, we arrived in Phong Dien market. And although beautiful, it wasn't exactly what I expected. It may look a bit small because future generations aren't actually taking up the markets anymore. It's more of an older thing and it's dying out slowly, especially with the introduction of roads and bikes. More of the demand is on mainland now rather than on the delta.
In the bus, the water is the main way for the people to go. If you want to go from this house to other house, you can go just only boat. Nowadays, easier for you to use motorbike or the car than the boat, so the people move to the land. They need to get up about 2 AM in the morning. One of the reasons why nowadays many young people they don't go to the floating market to sell here, because easier for them to try other job in other places like in the factory or company.
Even though the markets are slowly decreasing, we were lucky enough to find some really good food being served. All the produce is sold, all the food, all fresh ingredients, cooked in front of you. It's crazy, to be honest. This is how life goes on about around here. People just live on the delta. And it's through the bountiful resources that this is possible, which include fish.
They type of fish here: codfish, catfish, blackhead fish, and the crocodile. I didn't see.
And also vegetation. There's around 20,000 different plants in the delta, of which many different fruit grow.
A lot of different fruit in the Mekong Delta.
And we had a chance to try some of the more vibrant looking ones. Milky apple and dragon fruit. Never tried either of them before. Tastes like melon.
Yeah.
Dragon fruit. Very bright colours.
But like a kiwi.
Yeah, very non-sweet kiwi. Another 2 different types of fruits. With jackfruit that I've heard of and had.
Yeah.
Pomelo, never heard of, never seen it before.
It's a bit like fish.
That's lovely, that is. A bit like a tangerine.
Some other food depend on season. And the king is durian. Many Vietnamese people love durian, but you don't like durian.
Durian, yeah.
Yeah, but people hate durian.
Yeah. The amount of different vegetation, fruit, plants that we've seen today, even just growing on the trees, as well as probably thousands more, shows how rich in nature that the Mekong Delta is. all of the fruits that would be sold in the floating markets coming on farms like this, or from the trees that are growing on the riverbanks. And lots of the fruit and veg is sold at one of the largest markets on the Delta, Cai Rang, where the name comes from a crocodile tooth being found on the side of the river. So behind me, what you can see, or actually all around me, is the market. Before, there would have been 1,000 boats on this market in the morning. Now it was about 200 to 300. As you can see, it was dropped, but having said that, it's still a spectacular sight.
Cái floating market, they had a important position in the middle of Mekong Delta. So many people around the Mekong Delta, they go to south here. So they be extended for a long time.
It was really interesting to see Cai Rang, even though we were there later in the day. However, the Mekong Delta is a big region of Asia susceptible to flooding. And as sea level rise continues, the Delta, including the largest human settlements on it, are at risk.
Nowadays, some of the floating market finished. You can see that many houses is low, the level of water is lower. But now today it's getting higher. They need to build a house higher.
That's our trip to the Mekong Delta done. Really interesting, really amazing to see how people are living on the river. But one thing is, I do wonder if these people and these settlements will be here in the future.